Welcome back to the channel. I am the Rational Gooner and this is my review of the FA Cup quarter-final debacle. That was today's game between Southampton and Arsenal. I'm going to be frank, I'm going to be honest, but I'm going to try and be balanced and keep everything a little bit light for everyone because there's a lot of disappointed Gooners out there and there are a lot of rival fans that are ready to jump on us in any defeat that we have. So I would be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't embarrassed. We've lost to a championship side today in the quarterfinals, 2-1. And there aren't many positives that we can draw from that game, but I'll try my best and I'll start with the positives because, what else can I say? So I've got 5 positives from the game. The first one is that Odegaard's back from injury and playing. Seems to be free of injury. He looked quite decent in that first half. Playmaking, we looked actually the better side for long spells in that first half, and that was through Odegaard. Second positive, Max Dowman, he got a full 90 minutes and was the best performer. That also is a negative because if you're relying on a 16-year-old to be your best performer, there is something seriously wrong with the overall team performance. Another positive is that Miles Lewis-Skelly and Norgard got some minutes and they both looked pretty decent when they played. I don't think Miles Lewis-Skelly looked out of place in there. And I think Norgard always looks good when he plays for us, so it's good to see him play. Gyökeres scoring, that's number 4 of the positives, is that he's back in the team after getting a hat-trick for Sweden, and he's still in scoring form, and he did get a goal today. And Havertz looked sharp. The goal that we scored was a very good assist from him, good run, good cutback, and a smart finish from Gyökeres. Now the negatives. So the obvious one is that we were way below our best today. We just didn't look like we were on it. Once the initial onslaught that we had in that first half didn't yield a goal, and when Southampton took the lead, we did look lost. We didn't look like we were going to take charge anymore. The game didn't look anywhere near like Premier League versus Championship opposition, and we just didn't look up to it at all today. Another negative was that there was no real threat in front of goal. We looked very neat and tidy in front of goal. We just didn't create enough chances. Until Gyökeres came on and scored, we barely had a shot on target, and the goalkeeper really didn't have too much to do other than a few routine saves. Another negative is that Gabriel may now be out injured, and that is a needless injury and an unwelcome one with the run-in coming up. Another negative is that 2 poor goals were conceded from a defensive point of view. The first one, Ben White got underneath a crossfield pass, and these types of mistakes, you're going to get punished even at the level that Southampton are at. They were on a good run of winning games, and they punished us. Another one is that Martinelli was lucky not to be sent off for putting his hands on the referee. I can remember some years back in the Wenger era that Emmanuel Petit pushed Paul Durkin, the referee, and ended up getting sent off. And I'll be honest, it drew parallels from that. He pushed the referee away from the ball to take a free kick quickly. You just don't do that. That's just, the conduct is very juvenile, and it just wasn't. It just didn't look good. It was a very bad look, and he needs to keep a very low profile at the moment after his conduct against Liverpool earlier in the season. So yeah, that just wasn't a good look. The last one is that we're unable to break down a Championship low block. We're also unable to effectively counter them, even in a transition situation, and it looked disjointed at times. All the passing, the tiki-taka was pretty, but there was no real penetration from the Arsenal. And it's sad to see because, we have the players, we have these dangerous attacking players, whether they're the starting players or the ones that came on from the bench. So that's very disappointing from an Arsenal point of view. Again, both goals very avoidable. So the conclusion is we have to look to the next game now. Those two side quests of the League Cup and the FA Cup are now beyond us. We're not going to win either of those this season. The two biggest prizes are still very much up for grabs. If we play like we did today against Sporting Lisbon on Tuesday, expect us to lose again. I don't expect us to play like that, and I'm sure with the standards that Mikel Arteta sets, we won't. But you're only as good as your last game, and we've got some memory erasing to do before that game. We need to really take a long, hard look at ourselves, get back to basics, and play the way that we really know that we can, and we have done throughout this season. Declan Rice will be back, Saliba will play the full game, Zubimendi will be back playing the full game, hopefully Saka's back as well. They'll come in back for all in for that Champions League game, and David Raya. Although I don't think that Kepa did too much wrong today. He may have sliced a few clearances, but I think David Raya back into the side would be a positive for us. So the two big ones remain. We need to rediscover our form. There's still plenty to play for, and the priority is still, the Premier League, and that is a huge possibility for us, being 9 points clear of Man City. It's now about rediscovering that form and getting ourselves back to how we were in the February-March form. I can't really talk too much on the game. I've had a couple of beers, so I'm not going to go into that. But I am going to remain rational. I mean, you have to remain rational after these games. You don't learn anything from your team through victory. You learn what your team is made of following a defeat. Now, we've actually lost 2 games in a row now, and both games were important with regards to morale and trophies. So there is reason to stay positive. There is reason to be optimistic. However, cautiously, as an Arsenal fan and knowing what I know and what I've seen over the last decade with regards to how we seem to cope with run-ins, we just need to make sure that the promise of that squad depth, the promise of how we've been playing, is maintained, and we do fulfil what I would say is our destiny this season, and that's to win the Premier League. The Champions League was always a bonus. There are absolutely astronomically good sides still in the tournament. I'm talking Paris Saint-Germain, I'm talking Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. Even on our side of the draw, Atletico looked decent, Barcelona looked decent, and Sporting Lisbon, they came back against a side that have beaten Manchester City to go through, Bodo Glimt. So there are no easy games, and there will not be any easy games between now and the end of the season. Just as in the last 6 months, there have been no easy games for us. Every team turns up to play us like it's a cup final. Every team sits behind the ball in a low block in the Premier League, and every team in the Champions League try to out-football us. Hopefully it's the latter in Sporting, and we can hopefully out-football them. But the main problem with today is that we turned up relying on our talent, and we didn't give it the 110% that we should have. I honestly don't know what's happened over the last 2 weeks since the Carabao Cup final, or the last international break. I'm not sure how we've prepared for this game. However, it's going to be a different story on Tuesday. If we end up losing the game over 2 legs, I still back us. So there is reason to be optimistic, but I'm not deluded. There are no delusions from this schooner. It can all come falling down. Success is a house of cards. You take away a couple of those foundations and it all will come tumbling down. And we've taken a couple of big blows, a couple of really big hits either side of the international break, and it's how we come back from that that's going to be key. What are we made of? What is our mentality like? this next few days is going to prove what we're made of. Tuesday and, of course, at the weekend against Bournemouth. We cannot afford to drop points against Bournemouth. We can afford to get a draw or even lose away at Sporting. Not an ideal result, but you know that when they come to the Emirates that we will have what we need to beat them. And that's why I say the Premier League is the priority. So, yes, I'm disappointed. Yes, I'm dejected. And yes, I'm probably going to switch off all social media until Tuesday night, just so that, you know, it doesn't get worse in regards to the depression side of today's result. We all need to come together now as Gooners, and we all need to get behind the team. The worst thing we can do now is, you know, lose our nerve, get anxious, and that gets portrayed onto the football pitch. These guys are professionals. They will block out the noise, and it's now up to Arteta to make sure that this team is fully prepared for Tuesday and the weekend. That's it from me. Thank you very much for listening. Please put your comments below. Obviously, let's keep it light, guys. You know, after the Carabao Cup final, a couple of comments on there about the ineptitude and all that kind of stuff. I'm all for your opinions, and I do enjoy seeing your opinions, and I will reply to them if I feel that my reply is warranted. But it's not a witch hunt. This page isn't a witch hunt. This is about offering perspective, offering a bit of rationale, and we all know those other places you can go to do your rants. Come on here with some constructiveness. Yes, criticise the team because they deserve to be criticised. Let's not fly off the handle because that's not what we're about. We're a family. We're one club. And we move together as one, and we go again. And then we have to go again because it gets tougher and tougher each week. And, you know, the closer that we get to the climax of the season. And, the players have got to hold their nerve, and the fans have got to hold their nerve too. Again, thanks for listening, and please remember to like and subscribe if you do enjoy my content. I appreciate every single one of you for listening and hearing me bumble on with my unprepared footballing speech. But this is a page for all the rational Gooners to get together and and offer their wisdom. So stay positive, guys, and I'll be back for the preview of Sporting before Tuesday. I might do another top 10 before then. I think I'll start with midfielders, central midfielders. That's going to be one of the most difficult ones because we've had some absolute crackers since 1992. We'll see, but until then, thanks very much. Take care.